Coin Jack Marina in North Carolina, folks. Another 1,000 miles and I'll be there. This is what North Carolina pretty much looks like. Trees and grass and big on duck hunting. Big duckers up here. Hope all them ducks duck. They even got the big boys out there. Swan heads. Well, we're on the Pamlico Sound. Hopefully on the south end of it. I have no idea where I am. I've been on this body of water for approximately, today will be 4 days, 4 full days, if I stay on it till 3 o'clock this afternoon. I got about 12 to 16 hours worth of fuel, depending on the windage and the throttle. Land is over this way, somewhere, about 5 to 8 miles away, as near as I could figure from the lighthouse and the lights that were blinking last night. The wind is coming out of the east, and it's going to blow me towards the west, but I need to go to the north to get to land, and I definitely need to go to the north. Otherwise, I'm going to run out of fuel. Then I'm going to have to call for commercial assistance. And we don't want that. Right there on the deck is that last 55-gallon drum of fuel plus what's in the crane. It's been going pretty good out here. Yesterday it got a little snotty. Towards the end of the day, it was like 3-4 foot waves, but it picked up just for an hour or so, and then it laid down when the sun went down. Well, that's about it. You can see my gang box got smushed again from the waves. There is no life out here in Pamlico Sound. There is nothing out here. There is not a buoy. I haven't seen a boat since the day I got on here. I saw maybe off in the distance 5 miles away what looked like a wake of a boat. There's not a buoy. There's not a lobster trap. There's not a fisherman. When they pull the anchor up, there's nothing but mud comes off it. There's no mussels. There's no worms. There's nothing in this sound. It's like from the Twilight Zone. I can't believe there's no fish. I didn't see a seagull pull a fish out. Well, I'm going to conserve some more time off of this. And with that, there's the sun peeking at me. Hello, Mr. Sun. Oh, today it was 50-something degrees when I woke up. It was kind of like being in Key Largo in mid-August to me. Instead of wearing 7 layers of clothes, I'm down to 3. 7 layers and freezing. The other morning it was 10 degrees with the wind blowing, with the wind chill factor. It was 10 degrees. It was 30 degrees out with a wind chill factor of 10. To give you an idea how cold it is out here, I bought a bag of ice 8.5 days ago, and it's still got half of its water and half of it's still ice cubes. It was so cold one night I wanted to crawl into the ice chest because the ice would have kept me warm. That's how cold it was. Dad was right about it being cold. Oh, and there's pelicans. I saw some pelicans yesterday, a pair. And I saw one the day before that. So I guess I'm moving south. All right, that's enough. We got to go start the big motors. Talk to you later. Well, as you can see, I'm refueling my big tank from the drums that are on the deck. I have been in this spot since about 10 o'clock this morning, when the waves were about 1.5 feet, and But it was too foggy to see that open water tower that I parked next to. The reason why I parked next to it is so that I might be able to get a fix on where I am when the weather clears up from the Coast Guard. Because right now I have no idea where I am. I've been here since this morning, like I said, and I will probably be here until the day after tomorrow. Because even if I could see land right now, the way that the land is dead on into these waves. And that would be southwest, because the winds are coming directly out of the southwest. And there is no way I could fight it to get there with the amount of fuel that I have, because when that tank is empty, I have 30 gallons in the crane and a 4-gallon reserve. And I need to be going with the wind. Waves are now, I guess they're 2 to 3s with some 5s in between. Been a real fun day. Every time I take that container that I'm refueling with has a closed top. And as soon as I'm done with that one, then I fill up 2 more open tops. No sooner do I put the siphon hose in the top of the open container does it start raining, then I have to go get my cover, put the cover on top, put a weight on top of that, and then wait to fill it up. Then as soon as I'm done with those 2 containers and I'm going to unfuel it, and I put my siphon hose in top of that container with the top on it, the one that's there now, stops raining. As soon as I go to unsiphon the fuel out of that one, and put the 2 open containers on top of the fuel tank right here, it starts raining again. It's a conspiracy. I know it's a conspiracy. Even Tommy's pumpkin is falling apart. My friend Tommy Melanson. His pumpkin is falling apart. Tommy, I know I told you I'd get that pumpkin to Florida. I don't know, buddy. It looks like it's starting to, near as I can tell, looks like it ain't gonna make it. But there'll be remnants of pumpkin on the deck for you, Tom. And this is what I have to contend with, refueling this container from where it is, because it was too heavy to move over all of that stuff. So now I had to pick it up and put it on the staircase when it got light. And I'm probably sound like I'm just babbling now. Because I am babbling. Because I've almost had enough. Not really. It's pretty nice out here. As long as the anchor holds, I could stay here for a week with the provisions I have. It's just that it wasn't something that I planned on. I know that nobody else would have stayed here. I don't know of anybody else. But actually, it's quite nice out here. Nobody yells at me but me. And I never yell at me because I'm here and I'm not getting yelled at by anybody else, so there's no reason for anybody to yell. If that makes any sense. And I'm sure it will to some people who I know. Well, enough of this. I only have about 30 minutes left. I'll leave you with this open water. That don't work so good. This is an open water thing, which means I am in open water. Where? Oh, I'm in Pamlico Sound, about 4 days now to get to this point. Have not a clue where I am. Best estimate is I'm 80 miles into 110 mile sound. Worst estimate is I'm 70 miles into 110 mile sound. And somewhere over there, on the other side of that, is either Cape Lookout or the Pungo River, which was my original destination when the Coast Guard told me to stay put. But then I would have had to stay put for 3 days, 100 miles back that way. And I didn't want to stay put for 3 days, 100. and it was 10 degrees out with rain and sleet on my deck. Now, I didn't want to stay there. So today, this is what I have to look forward to. Fueling up in 50-degree weather and seas I can't possibly transgress or traverse over, but I do have company. I have my open water sign, which means that I'm in open water, which means I'm in the thick of it if the wind changes from the wrong direction and we get 13-foot seas, which means I'll need to get towed again by the United States Coast Guard, which I really don't feel like doing. So, after I'm done putting all the fuel in the tank, I'm going to find out where I am. So if the weather breaks at any time, day or night, I can get the motors up and running in the middle of the night or early morning or late this evening and go to the Pungo River, which is over there somewhere, or Cape Lookout, which might be over there somewhere. But we don't want to go back that way to the Albemarle Sound. It's 100 miles, and I don't have fuel. Oh, by the way, I only have fuel for another 50 miles. So if I don't go over there somewhere, within 50 miles, I'm going to be out of fuel, and I am going to need commercial assistance. That's the way they put it. When some guy in a boat comes out and rapes you mid-sea, you need commercial assistance. Isn't that nice? Hello, I'm here to give you commercial assistance. How much money do you have in your pocket or your bank account? Because we do things commercially. We don't take pennies, we take cash, dollars, and coin. Commercial assistance, folks, it's a wonderful thing. So if I don't get within 50 miles of land from my open water sign, I am going to need commercial assistance. Now, for some more reality. This is what the cabin has come to look like over the last week. It's a mess. It's a darn mess. That's my fuel containers. I'm keeping them out of the rain. There's my sleeping bag that got wet in the rain today. These are all wet clothes because I left this window, that window right there, with the lighthouses on it, open while I was looking for land, which I never did find, and I got everything wet. And this is it, folks. This is it. What do you want to see close-up of? You want to see close-up of my mitten, which is really a purple sock that I lost the other one in a storm somewhere about 500 miles ago? Or do you want to see what's going to be for dinner? Because here is dinner. Believe it or not, that's dinner. You want to see, look at my hands. They're a mess. I've had oil and grease on my hands for the last 30 days almost, and I've had it with the oil and grease part. The flashlight, no more juice, batteries are dead. All 4 sets of other batteries are dead. My water glass with my iced tea, gone. Must have fell down from a wave. Got all my gloves and everything wet. Yep. This is my peanut. This is all I got left for peanuts. This is peanuts compared to what I started with. Here's my fresh water supply. That's it. After that, we drink fresh water out of this thing. Right there. This thing ain't focusing. Out of that, but that tastes like metal. So you have to put iced tea in it, and sugar, and cocoa mix. Otherwise, it just tastes like a rusty old tank. There's the light of the Lord there. That's the only thing that's been working nice. I don't know. It's 5 days now and it's still full of fuel. I think it's being refueled subconsciously by something else. And that's it. This is my emergency gear right there. I hope if I get into that, that means that I have had it and I'm swimming for shore. Those gloves there, Those are the wet gloves. We throw the wet gloves on the floor. Wet gloves, gloves full of fuel, till we could do wash. Today would be a good day to do wash. It's raining out. Now the sun's coming out. I don't think it knows what it wants to do either. Well, I will leave you now. You've now had 12 minutes of refueling, which is more than enough. Anyone who looks at this tape and thought that I have possibly lost my mind, you're incorrect. I have never been in more control of all my faculties. This place makes you alive. One mistake, just any one mistake, and you have had it. So you either pay attention or you are up Schitt's Creek without a paddle. No, my mind is very clear. I don't know why I'm here. Oh yes, I do know why I'm here, ladies and gentlemen. When I was on the Albemarle Sound, I had a book that told me where the Intercoastal was. And the Intercoastal on the Albemarle Sound were very plainly stated, follow the buoys. But it didn't show you that there's two sets of buoys. And in the fog, the first set of buoys was the wrong set of buoys, and those are the ones I followed. And that's why I'm on the Pamlico Sound, because the buoys on the Albemarle Sound to go to Alligator River, to go to Alligator Alley, they're every 5 miles apart. And the buoys to go to Pamlico Sound, they're every 3 miles apart. And I never did see that 5-mile buoy and veered off to follow the 3-mile buoy instead of following the 5-mile buoy, because the buoy system in North Carolina sucks. Well, that's where that light post, that open water light post was yesterday. But as you can see, visibility is less than 200 feet. Now I am here once again today, December 29th, probably going to be here till after New Year's the way things look, waiting for the weather to clear. All I can say is the weather in Virginia and North Carolina sucks. For 10 days now, except for 3 hours, 2 afternoons ago, it has been raining, foggy, or so cloudy you couldn't see 500 feet. I can't believe this. And here I am again, under advisement from the United States Coast Guard to stay put, because this is as close as they can figure where I am. Is at the mouth of the Pamlico Sound by Cape Lookout. And they'd like me to stay here because we have severe weather warnings, gale force winds, hurricane possibilities tonight. And if I can't get out of here, they want to know about where I am so that they can come and save me again. And believe me, I will need saving according to that weather report. There's my gang box once again, all mushed up. I fixed it twice. I'm not fixing it no more. Apparently that's where it wants to live, because it's been through 3 storms and ended up in that same exact situation 3 times. My life raft, hope I don't need that damn thing, because 50 years it lasted, and now it's nothing but a bunch of snotted up, busted up old ropes with no bottom. I made it look like it has a bottom by tying it with 2 pieces of line, because the Coast Guard wants me to have a life raft on board. And I have to agree with them. This is the type of place you'd need a life raft. Now underneath this plank is a very interesting thing. It's called a hole. Probably not going to be able to see it. Yeah, you can see it. Well, right there is the same thing as right there. That's a metal strap. Now there used to be a metal strap underneath that piece of plywood, but now it's no longer there. It's over here. Now in order for that metal strap to get from here, right here, to there, right there. That's a good 11 feet away. And it's underneath 2 pieces of steel I-beams that are joined with a cross member that have at least 3,000 pounds of weight on them at the time that got bounced around. Now that metal strap broke out from underneath there, and then that piece of steel with all the weight on it of the bucket and lumber and poles that I had on the barge that disappeared in the storm, and part of the weight of the welder from the being tied down. That piece of that big I-beam, this I-beam right here, boom, right there, that connected to that with that cross member there, bounced up and down on the deck enough to get that piece of strap underneath there, and it bounced right underneath there. So that means it had to bounce at least 12.5 inches high from wave power, my friends. That's the kind of stuff that I was out in, and that's what's coming tomorrow morning. Again, it's dead calm now. I think it's the calm before the storm. Now, each one of these lines from the last storm had something attached to it. One had part of the mat attached to it. One had the end. Oh, by the way, this piece of steel walked its way off the barge down there, and then 3 feet further, so it walked 6 feet in the storm. Yeah. Anyway, those ropes each had something attached to it, either a buoy, a buffer, this piece of steel, something. And now, as you can see, it's nothing more than a bunch of snot. And that's my next project, to unsnot this cleat, because the Coast Guard, they're very helpful, but a TAEE ship is a good ship. Yep. All these lines are $5 a foot or more, some of them. That's braided 1-inch line, and you can see it's braided all right. Looks like somebody designed it. I'm going to put that around the bar in my living room if I ever get back to dry land. My muffler? Ha! Storm damage. Can't even begin to tell you what kind of waves were hitting this. It polished the motors. Steven, if you ever get to see this tape, remember all that stuff that was underneath that grill? Well, it is all gone. You know how come it's all gone? Because waves washed over the back of the barge and hit here and knocked it all out. My battery box has been reinstalled 3 times as of day before yesterday. All of this, this is real interesting, folks. The waves keep washing over the stern of my deck and going into my hatches. Then I have to go down into the hatch, that hatch there, and another one on the other side, and bail it out. And that is a pain in the butt, especially in the middle of a storm. Otherwise, the barge sinks. Not sinks, but goes down below the water level. Then the waves come over twice as fast. It makes it even harder to bail out. So this wood here, this is a barricade, steel wood barricade, plywood battery box barricade, rubber barricade, steel barricade, and rope barricade. On the other side of the rope, we have more rope barricade, then 3x10 tongue and groove lumber, plywood barricade, rope, rubber, and miscellaneous stuff barricade on this side. On this side, we have 12x12 battery barricade. We have the battery, we have a battery of batteries barricading that hatch right there. This is fun. And on the other side of the battery barricade, we have what's left of my work table. Thank God I didn't throw that out. That piece of steel, wherever that came from, that stops a lot of water, folks. That might not look like much of a piece of steel, but that's a water-stopping piece of steel if ever there was one. And that plywood, don't put any less faith in that piece of plywood. That's a water-stopping piece of plywood if ever there was one. This pipe stops a lot of water. Now let's get a look at it from the front end. This could be, this is just a piece of plywood on the deck, but this could be, you could be looking at the next barricade, folks. You never know what it's going to be tomorrow. You only know what it was today. See, that's my barricade. Pipe, hose, gang box. Oh, the sun's coming out. That's wonderful. Let's see. Ah! And look who it is. It's Mr. Open Water Marker. Yes, visibility is now 1/2 of a mile. For the first time in 2 days. I like it. Let's get back to the barricade. That means I'll be able to leave here soon, maybe. I think even the wind is blowing in my direction. Let's see, there's the pilot house. What's left of it? Barricade. We have plywood, 6x6, barricade, rope. Rope is just in case we have to tie something off in the middle of something. That's what's holding the crane down. You might not think that that's holding the crane down, but in the storm the other day, the crane was trying to roll itself back into the pilot house and smash the motors. But this, and another one on the other side, and another third one on the side after that, was holding it back. Yes, this has become me. And to look at me, you might not want to do this, but where's the sun? Sun's gone. That's me. Yep, that's me. I ain't looking like much. Haven't had a bath, except for a sea bath 3 nights ago, and that was cold. I don't really feel like doing that again. Haven't had a bath in 10 days now. My nose hasn't stopped running either in about 10 days now. And I have just about had enough of the Pamlico Sound and this open water stuff. This open water stuff might be for the birds, but let me tell you something. Let me tell you a little story. If you look very carefully, if there was going to be a bird, it would be on a structure in the middle of the ocean. But there ain't no birds out here, because the birds know that there's a Class 2, possibly Class 3 storm coming tomorrow, and that they shouldn't be out this far. And only the birds know that, because I am out here, which means that I don't know that I shouldn't be here. Although I do know it, but there's nothing I can do about it. These are my Everlast sneakers. Thank God they Everlast, because you can't see it, but they've been melted 3 times. See these lines here? That line there, and that line there, and that line. That was the first time. Then this big chunk right here, that was the second time. That was the second time that it got melted. And then the third time it got melted was up here last night on the Light of the Lord. The only thing that's really working well is a Coleman lantern I found in the garbage about 10 years ago. And I call it the Light of the Lord because it's my only light at night. And it's been drying my socks, pants, hat, shirt, and everything else for the last 5 days. Why? I don't know. Now, if you'll excuse me, yes, we still have visibility. This is the Pamlico Sound. PS, see the PS on there? The PS Papaciata. This is the Pamlico Sound open water marker, and I got to find out from the Coast Guard where I am so I may leave. Have a nice day. December 29th, 1998 at 12:43.
Northwest wind 25 to 30 knots and gusty. Seas 5 feet, building to 6 feet. The coastal marine forecast from south of Cape Hatteras to north of Surf City, North Carolina out 20 nautical miles. Small craft advisory conditions likely late tonight. This afternoon, north wind 15 knots or less, becoming southwest late. Seas 3 feet. Scattered showers.
I'm in the Pamlico Sound.
Southwest wind 20 knots, becoming northwest 25 knots late. Seas 4 feet. Scattered evening showers.
This is about
Wednesday, northwest wind 25 to 30 knots and gusty. Seas 5 feet, building to 6 feet.
10 miles from me.
The extended marine forecast. Thursday, wind 15 to 20 knots. Seas 4 to 5 feet. Friday, wind 15 knots. Seas 3 to 5 feet. Saturday, wind 15 to 20 knots. Seas 4 to 5 feet. The offshore waters forecast from Baltimore Canyon to Hatteras Canyon. Gale force winds expected Wednesday. This afternoon, north winds 10 knots, becoming variable. Seas 3 to 6 feet. Tonight, west winds increasing to 15 to 20 knots. Seas building to 5 to 8 feet. Wednesday, northwest winds increasing to 30 to 40 knots. Seas building to 6 to 12 feet.
That's 10 miles
Scattered showers.
from here.
The offshore waters forecast from Hatteras Canyon to Blake Ridge. Gale force winds expected Wednesday. This afternoon, west to southwest 10 to 15 knots, increasing to 20 to 30 knots. Seas 3 to 6 feet, building to 5 to 9 feet. Widely scattered showers. Tonight, west winds 25 to 30 knots. Seas building to 8 to 14 feet. Scattered showers. Wednesday, winds becoming northwest 30 to 40 knots. Seas 8 to 14 feet. Outer Banks water temperatures. Duck had a water temperature of 49 degrees. Cape Hatteras Lighthouse 52. Frisco Pier 54 degrees. Tide information for Cape Hatteras. High tide 3:46 p.m. Low tide 9:52 p.m. High tide 4:28 a.m. Wednesday. Low tide 10:56 a.m. Wednesday. This is National Weather Service radio station KIG 77, operating on a frequency of 162.475 megahertz. This broadcast
Here comes the Pamlico Sound information
Newport, North Carolina.
right after he's done with this nonsense.
Facility is located at Lexington, on Hatteras Island. The hourly weather observations around the local area. At noon, Manteo reported fog, reducing visibility to a mile and 3/4. The temperature was 48. The wind was west at 3 miles an hour. Norfolk, Virginia reported light rain and fog, reducing visibility to 1/2 of a mile. The temperature was 43. The wind was calm. At 12 noon, at the Newport Weather Office, the temperature was 48. The wind was north at 4 knots with cloudy skies. The winds at Cedar Island were east at 3 knots and the temperature was 47. At Hatteras Inlet, winds were north at 3 knots with the temperature of 47. North Topsail Beach winds were northeast at 4 knots and the temperature was 50. The winds at Ocracoke were north at 3 knots with a temperature of 48. For the offshore buoy reports, at Chesapeake Light, winds were calm. The temperature was 48. Seas were 3 feet every 6 seconds. Diamond Shoals winds were from the north at 7 knots. The temperature was 53. Seas were 5 feet every 11 seconds. At Cape Lookout, winds were north at 8 knots. The temperature was 49. Winds at Flying Pan Shoals were north at 7 knots. The temperature was 64. Seas were 3 feet every 11 seconds. And winds at the Dayton Buoy 50 miles east of the North Carolina-Virginia border were from the north at 6 knots. The temperature was 51. Seas were 5 feet every 11 seconds. The forecast for the local listening area. This afternoon, cloudy with patchy fog and a chance of light rain. High in the mid-50s. North winds 10 to 15 miles an hour. Chance of rain 40%. Tonight, a 50% chance of rain through midnight. Otherwise mostly cloudy. Becoming breezy towards morning. Low in the mid-40s. Northwest wind around 10 miles an hour. increasing to 15 to 20 miles an hour late. Wednesday, partly cloudy, windy and cooler. High around 50. New Year's Day forecast, partly cloudy and cool. High in the 40s. For locations north and west of Buxton, including the cities of Manteo, Swan Quarter, Columbia, and Glenliv, this afternoon, cloudy with patchy fog and a chance of light rain. High in the mid-50s. Northeast wind 5 to 10 miles an hour.
Ooh.
Chance of rain 30%. Tonight, 30% chance of rain until midnight. Otherwise mostly cloudy and becoming breezy. Increasing to 15 to 20 miles an hour late. Low in the lower 40s. West wind near 10 miles an hour. Wednesday, partly cloudy, windy and cooler. High in the upper 40s. New Year's Day forecast, partly cloudy. High in the 40s. The extended forecast for eastern North Carolina. Thursday through Saturday, partly cloudy and cold through the period. Lows will be in the 20s with highs in the 40s. The coastal marine forecast for the Albemarle and Pamlico Sounds. Small crest advisory conditions likely late tonight. This afternoon, north wind 15 knots or less, becoming southwest late. Waves 1 foot. Scattered showers. Tonight, southwest wind 15 knots, becoming northwest 25 knots late. Waves 2 feet, building to 3 feet. Scattered evening showers. Wednesday, northwest wind 25 to 30 knots and gusty.
That's me.
Waves 4 feet. The coastal marine forecast from south of Currituck Beach line to Cape Hatteras.
Well, that'll give you an idea where I am. Right in the Pamlico Sound in the North Atlantic Ocean.
Becoming southwest late.
Yep. Tommy, you can see what's happening to your pumpkin. I don't think it's going to take another storm. Well, we're cooking lunch. We're stuck on Cape Hatteras. Right about 75 feet out of the channel. And the reason why we're stuck 75 feet out of the channel is because the Coast Guard would not throw me a line at 3 o'clock in the morning and move me from where I am right now into that little slit right there. And at the time I was about 75 feet away from that. Why they wouldn't move me, I have no idea. I asked them for assistance. They were escorting me in. I've got fuel. I came back out of that slip. My filter's clogged. I asked them for a line, and they left. They just left. They didn't even say. They just said, I got to go back to base. See you later. And they came back like an hour later. They would not throw me a line. I don't even want to discuss it. So here I am, another day stuck a couple of 100 feet from nowhere in Cape Hatteras making lunch. Now that may not look like much, and it doesn't, but it's my lunch. It's ham and potatoes. And this is where I'm stuck, right here. 150 feet from a safe harbor. Right on the other side of those rocks is a safe harbor. 150 feet away from here is a safe harbor. Right there. Right there is safe. And I was in there last night and asked them if I could stay in there, and they said no. They wanted me to come back to their base so they could check out my vessel further. Like, what are they going to do now? God only knows. The United States Mafia at its full potential probably coming down. They broke out the big gun. They got him out of bed at 2 o'clock in the morning to come see them escort me in. Oh my God, what a mess. And they talk to each other, but they won't tell you what's going on. They tell you we'll be right back. And then they come back and they tell you that this is wrong, and then they leave, and then 6 more people discuss something else, and then they say, and that's wrong, and you're supposed to have a placard for the oil discharge in the engine room, like I got an engine room. Let me get back. Let me get back to my lunch. I'm disgusted. It's New Year's, it's almost New Year's Eve, and here I am. Here I am. Here I am. Well, here it is, folks. A few hours ago, I was on the other side of this grassy break wall in 3-foot seas, getting beat up. The barge was getting beat up. It was grounded, but it was it was bouncing around pretty good. And now I am in this nice little cove in Cape Hatteras, wherever Cape Hatteras is, North Carolina, and Officer Nicholas has requested that I stay here in this cove. I can go up to that marina over there, and I can go back this way as far as I want, but I can't go on the outside of that break wall until all repairs are effected. And he has a list of 7 items, including lights, wiring, lashing down the equipment. He came up with some new ones too. The acetylene tanks weren't lashed down properly. They have to have wood underneath them before you can lash them down so that they don't move. Can't have the hoses hooked up to them, which means in the middle of the night, if you have to burn something, you have to take the tops off the tanks and put the hoses on. So that stuff has to be lashed down, closed up so you can't be used. You have to fix the holes in these mufflers. That's going to be a work of art. Lash down all drums, cylinders, ropes. I need a new flotation device. I need a throwing ring. Imagine this. I'm on here by myself. If I fall overboard, who's going to throw it to me? But I need one. Silly rules and regulations. This has to have a band on it like that one. And this side looks good. That side right there, that's good. This side's all good. It's this other side. I have about a day and a half of deck repairs and another day of electrical stuff. And then I should be good to go. But I'm real happy that I'm on this side of the bay, because you can't see it. But I was getting beat up pretty good out there. I tried for 3 hours last night, 2 hours this morning, and this afternoon when the Coast Guard finally said they weren't sending me a boat, no commercial assistance, I said, this got to work. The tide came up real good. 3-4 foot waves came up. And right on the other side of this break wall, as a matter of fact, yeah, right opposite from where I am is where I was in my last video. And you can see the tops of the trees, and I'll let you hear the wind for a second. That's steady 25-mile-an-hour gusts. Steady 25-mile-an-hour winds with 35-mile-an-hour gusts. At one point it was closer to 40. That's when I got off, when it got worse. Anyway, with that, you can see my clothes are drying once again. I'm not going to show you the pilot house, because you know what that pigsty looks like. Not that it's a pigsty, but it's hard to do all of this stuff, even for me. But I won't quit. I know there is a conspiracy. Oh, there's definitely a conspiracy. When, as soon as I got off ground at about 11 o'clock this morning, the wire from the cable that was on the weight, the barge, I had it in gear and I was trying to pull the crane around with the, pull the barge around with the crane, and I looked and I seen the wire going into the wheel, and I ran down the steps, over all of this stuff, and then up those steps, over there, and then up into the pilot house, which you can't see, and then put it in neutral, and it only wrapped around one time. Had it wrapped around 3 times, I think I would have needed to torch it and I would have lost my anchor. I don't know. I had an electrical fire in the pilot house this morning. When the Coast Guard boarded the vessel this afternoon, they found wires sparking on the back of the vessel that I haven't seen in 10 years. Oh, it's a conspiracy. Michael is definitely fighting the dragon. But Michael will win, because that's the way the prophecy has it in the book. Yeah, there is one more thing that I wanted to tell you about. That's where I could have spent New Year's, and this is where I am spending New Year's in a nice safe harbor. Tuck it in against this little thing. Now, about a half a mile down, there's a place I could get some, I could go to a hotel and get something to eat. I'm starting to look like my clothes here. Yeah, that ought to do it. I go out and pick up a nice girl with these hands. Say, look, babe, here's my hands. Look at these. Let me pick you up with them. Yeah, that'll do it. That's a real turn on, huh? Let's see, you get a better angle of that. Man, they are dirty. I haven't taken a bath in 10 days except one night, a seawater bath about 5 days ago. This is from the soot from the exhaust. It's all over everything. I'm getting tired of this myself. Yeah, babe. Hey, how you doing? Yeah, let me pick you up with my hands. Happy New Year. Hey. Yeah, that'll work. Thank you. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Let me suck on your thumb. Oh. Jessica G.
Forecast from south of current and reach right to north of Surf 30 North Carolina out 20 nautical miles. Smile Crest advisory. Tonight, northwest wind 25 knots, diminishing to 15 knots. Seas 7 feet, except 4 feet near shore, subsiding to 4 feet, except 2 feet near shore. Thursday, west wind 10 knots. Seas 3 feet. Thursday night, northwest wind 10 to 15 knots. Seas 3 feet. Friday, north wind 15 knots. Seas 3 feet. The extended marine forecast. Saturday, wind 20 to 25 knots. Seas 4 to 6 feet. Sunday, wind 20 to 25 knots. Seas 5 to 7 feet. Monday, wind 15 to 20 knots. Seas 4 to 5 feet. The offshore waters forecast from Baltimore Canyon to Hatteras Canyon.
That's us.
Gale warning. Tonight, northwest winds 25 to 35 knots early, decreasing to 15 to 20 knots by morning. Seas 10 to 15 feet, subsiding to 9 to 13 feet.
That's about 800